Welcome to Classified Captures.
Steve here, and today we've got a wild lineup of clips ranging from strange UAP sightings to clips of otherworldlies we never knew existed. Ready to have your mind blown? Well, let's dive right in. The next footage comes from Mexico. A man was driving along a mountainside road when he spotted something unusual walking in the forest. It was a massive, dark-furred creature, but a bush partially blocked the view so that all could be seen was the back of its head, or at least that's what it looked like. Other drivers also stopped their cars to watch, but no one could figure out what this thing was. Some believe it was a black bear carrying something, perhaps its food, while others think it was a person draped in a blanket heading into the trees. But there's no solid explanation for what was caught on camera, but these are all possibilities. Having seen the clip yourself, what do you think we're dealing with here? While you share your thoughts, we visit an event in China, where a large crowd is gathered around a stage watching a performance. There's nothing out of the ordinary, but is there? Well, if you pay attention, among the security personnel standing behind the barriers, there's a humanoid robot. Now, it's unclear whether the robot was there for security purposes or just for display, but at some point during the event, it suddenly approached a specific woman behind the barrier. Its movements and posture were eerily human-like, almost as if it was getting ready to confront someone. Security officers quickly intervened, treating it as if it were a real person, attempting to hold it back and calm it down. Just look at that. This incident raises serious concerns because even though robots are programmed to mimic human behavior, they're still just machines. If a wire malfunctions or a line of code goes wrong, they could easily go rogue. Fortunately, the situation was brought under control, but everyone noticed what happened. I don't know about you, but this is no joke to me. If robots can switch like this so easily, what does our future look like? Will we see robots getting into fist fights with humans? I also can't help but wonder what this woman did or said that made the robot react like that. Anyway, what do you think they said to him to calm him back down? Imagine calming down a robot. God. A man set out to explore an abandoned house, which was said to have once been inhabited by a priest. The priest had since passed away, and no one had lived there for years. While inside, he started to feel uneasy. Something about the atmosphere was off, and he even witnessed a few strange occurrences that made him cut his search short. As he walked back to his car, he took one last glance at the house, and that's when he saw this. On the top floor, standing on the balcony, was a dark figure. It appeared human-like, draped in what looked like a robe. When you look closely, it resembles a priest in his traditional attire. Given the history of the house, the man was shocked. He believed he'd just seen a ghost of the priest, possibly watching him or urging him to return inside. But he refused. He then uploaded this online to share his experience. Naturally, there were some of those that thought this was cool and legit, but this time, however, a large chunk of the community was not convinced. They argued that the dark figure is not a ghost, but rather just a part of the house that happens to look like a person from a distance. You've seen the clip, so what do you think?
Algo som está apareciendo ahí arriba. Yo creo que es el padre. Mira, se pone bien. Ahorita me estoy diciendo.
While some people are concerned about the future of humanity with robots, scientists are pushing the limits of how lifelike they can make them. Take a look at this. This is called the protoclone, the first robot designed to mimic humans at an incredibly detailed level. It has synthetic muscles, magnetic joints, and a bone-like structure allowing it to move and behave just like a real person. It's said to have 200 degrees of freedom, thousands of myofibers, and over 500 sensors that help it replicate human motions and responses. Just look at that. I understand that robots are meant to make life easier, but why is there such a strong push to make them more human-like every day? Are we heading toward a future where robots are indistinguishable from us? If we are, well, is that a good thing? I have so many questions, but I guess this is one of those situations where we'll just have to wait and see. A passenger on a flight was filming above the clouds when they captured something unusual. Did you catch that? It's an oddly shaped object moving rapidly toward the aircraft before it suddenly stops, glows, and zips past. Speaking of its odd shape, the object appears to be cylindrical in shape and was moving at an incredible speed. The big question on everyone's mind when this was uploaded was, what are we looking at? The answer isn't exactly a straight one. Some think it's a UFO, whereas others think it's some new military invention out there for a test run. It's hard to say what exactly it is, but if this clip is indeed true and genuine, should we be worried about the planes in our skies? A man came across a dog seemingly frozen mid-run in the middle of a vast empty field. There was no one around and the dog's tail stood upright while its body trembled slightly. Even its paws remained in place as if it had been stopped by an invisible force. Was the dog so terrified by something that it froze in shock, or is this some kind of glitch? Well, some paranormal communities were quick to call the pup a skinwalker, but I don't know about this one. There are some species of dogs that pause and point like this dog is doing to bring something to the attention of its owner or parent, like this generation likes to refer to themselves as. Looking at this, and given the fact that they're in the woods, I'm tempted to believe that that's what's going on here, but I'm no animal expert. Can anyone confirm this, or if you have a different theory, please don't hesitate to share. A family from the Philippines captured some very strange footage on their home security camera. In the footage, an elderly woman was sleeping on a sofa in the living room when suddenly a dark, heavy figure appeared hovering over her. Not long after, a younger woman walked in, noticed the dark figure, and started swatting at it, trying to make it go away, but it wouldn't budge. Here's where it gets eerie. The elderly woman is the younger woman's mother, and she was experiencing sleep paralysis for a while. The family had no idea what was causing it, so they set up a camera while she napped to finally get some answers, and this is what they found. But not everyone is convinced by the footage. Some say the dark figure could just be a spider on the camera lens. But if that were true, why was the woman swatting at it in the room itself? Doesn't add up now, does it? Unless, of course, they really did capture a sleep paralysis demon. Sounds like a long stretch, but I could use your input on this one.
All that. This is waste from different businesses, bakeries, cookie places, all type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Some of your favorite foods, but they just molded and old. Got a bunch of rats and stuff in them. Yep, they all going in here. Up the line to the grinder.
Bacon, pork chops, carnitas tacos, roast pork, and Japanese tonkatsu. What do these meals have in common? If you said pork, you'd be right. While not everyone enjoys these due to the religious or personal reasons, there are millions who enjoy it daily. This is what makes what this man shared very disturbing. He worked at an animal feed processing plant, and after just a few days on the job, he noticed that the pig feed was made from waste, including rubber, boxes, plastic, and expired food still in its packaging. Everything was ground into a powder and sold to farmers to feed their pigs, the same pigs that are slaughtered and served to us as pork in our various meals. I'm no health inspector, but that doesn't seem hygienic at all, especially if humans are eating them too. Shockingly, after exposing what he had seen, the man lost his job. The company tried to cover it up, but the damage was done. Now, while plastic and other harmful materials are not legally allowed in animal feed, we all know that some people cut corners to save costs at the expense of public health. These toxic chemicals harm the pigs and in turn harm us when we eat them. With information like this circulating, would you still keep consuming pork? If so, how do you intend to make it safe to consume?
And the old, got a bunch of rats and stuff in them. Yep, they all going in here. Up the line to the grinder.
Some boaters spotted something unusual while they were out in the ocean. A pink dolphin. Just look at that. Unlike the typical gray dolphins, this vibrant pink dolphin was swimming right alongside the others. The footage doesn't look fake at all, and the dolphin's color seems almost like something out of a Disney movie. But this isn't an alien or unnatural phenomenon. There are real-life pink dolphins known as Amazon River dolphins, also called the boto. These freshwater dolphins are found in the Amazon and Orinoco River basins in South America and are known for their distinctive rosy pink skin, which becomes more vibrant with age. Scientists believe their coloration comes from a combination of genetics, blood vessel density, and scarring from social interactions. While Amazon River dolphins typically inhabit freshwater rivers, there have been cases where similar-looking pink dolphins have been spotted in ocean waters. Some believe these could be albino variations of common dolphin species, while others speculate that they might have wandered from their usual habitat. Two friends were sitting in a car parked near a house when they noticed something strange. At first, they thought they saw a person moving back and forth near a curtain, but then something unsettling happened. As the figure continued moving, its pace suddenly became much faster and its motion no longer looking like walking or running. Instead, it was gliding. What's even stranger is that they could only see the upper body with an unnatural, ghostly movement. We don't know the history of the house, whether it's abandoned or if someone still lives there, but many people believe this could be the restless spirit of someone who once lived and died in that room. What do you also think? Next, we got a clip sent in by a subscriber of the channel called Tammy. Hey, Tammy. She attached a still photograph that had her confused, explaining that it was captured by her security camera one night when her adult daughter was taking their greyhound outside to use the bathroom. They live in a sparsely developed rural area with buffalo up the street and longhorn cattle down the road. Because of this, they always stay with their animals when they go outside. What you're seeing on your screen currently was captured by her camera. It's the type that screws into a porch light socket. Her daughter had been standing about 6 feet from the steps where the greyhound was, with her hands on the door under the camera. While her daughter could see the dog clearly, the other figure in the image had been invisible to her. The subscriber said she hadn't seen the picture until weeks later when reviewing the footage. The camera had apparently gone off after capturing what's on your screen. She wants to believe it's because it's a low-quality cam, but some members of my team think otherwise. She wants our opinion, though. She states that her daughter was less than 6 feet away from the figure and should have been able to see it, but it's only visible on camera. I've looked at this several times, and I'm tempted to say it's something otherworldly, but let's hear your opinions.
That photograph may be old, but Tammy needs answers.
What was that?
A home security camera overlooking the ocean captured something strange in the middle of the night. When you look closely at the ocean toward the far left side, for a split second you can see an orb zipping into the sky. It moves so fast that if you blink, you might miss it entirely. These days, many reports suggest that UFOs and UAPs are not just coming from the sky, but also emerging from the ocean. Could that be what we just witnessed? Was this a UFO taking off, or was it something else entirely? Half of my team believes it's a UAP or UFO, the other half thinks there's a logical explanation, but which side are you on? Next, we got another clip sent in by a subscriber called Jill. Hey, Jill. She wanted us to review this one and confirm if it was real or not. She believes it's a glitch in the Matrix, but with the number of AI clips out there, she's not really sure. The clip starts off normally, seemingly showing a man serving clients in a fast food restaurant. After a few seconds in, and you realize that the clip isn't exactly what you call normal. The man moves unnaturally, and his neck follows the same pattern. There are some who believe this is the real deal, and there are also some who think the whole thing is fake and definitely AI generated. I'm tempted to lean towards AI, but if this is real, then those guys in the background did a great job to avoid disrupting the performance. Either way, what do you think?
Season 5, look at this. So, I flip this to L2, and then I bring this to 1, and fire. Now look at that. Fire.
If you were confused by what you're seeing, know that I was as confused as you the first time I saw it. This is basically what the weather modification we've spoken so much about looks like. It looks very simple, I know, but this one helps in rain formation, and it's called cloud seeding. Cloud seeding is a weather modification technique designed to stimulate rainfall by introducing certain substances into the clouds. When using potassium chloride, sodium chloride, and magnesium compounds, the process works by enhancing the cloud's ability to form raindrops. These salts act as hygroscopic particles, meaning they attract and absorb moisture from the surrounding air. As they absorb water, they grow in size, promoting the condensation of water vapor into droplets. Once these droplets become heavy enough, they fall to the ground as rain. Simple, I know, but maybe a bit too simple. Skeptics of the whole thing believe there's more to the process than the institutions behind them are letting on. What do you think?
Fire. Now look at that.
This woman was live streaming as she excitedly showed off her new wigs to her viewers. She was so engrossed in what she was doing, she didn't notice something terrifying happening right behind her. As she held up a wig close to her hair, a figure walked past behind her. At first, it seemed like just a person until the footage was slowed down. That's when it became apparent that whatever it was had no face. The entire face was smooth flesh, completely devoid of eyes, nose, mouth, nothing, just a blank surface. To make it even more disturbing, the figure's hair was slicked back, making the faceless appearance even more unsettling. While she may not have readily noticed it, her viewers did, and they immediately flooded the chat, warning her about what they'd just seen. But according to her, she was completely alone in the room. So what was this faceless entity? Someone in my team thinks it might have been the owner of the hair if it's human hair. It's a wild theory, and I don't know about it. But what do you guys think? This footage is from years ago and involves a supermodel named Gabriella. She just started gaining recognition in her career when one night something disturbing happened. Gabriella was spotted outside screaming and yelling. She seemed terrified, completely hysterical. When the police arrived to take control of the situation, she kept repeating the same shocking claim, saying that they were eating human flesh. But who was she talking about? Well, according to reports, she had been invited to an elite party, and whatever she witnessed during that event shook her to her core. This isn't the first time we've heard a bizarre story surrounding the elite. There have always been rumors about what happens behind closed doors in these high-ranked people in society. So, was this just a breakout, or did Gabriella see something that she was not supposed to? This footage was captured on Snapchat by a man who was streaking his friend when the camera picked up something eerie. In the background, on the far side of the room, there was a doorway. At first, it looked completely normal, but then this happened. A small, ghostly figure moved swiftly across the doorway. The man was startled but not entirely shocked, because according to him, he'd been experiencing strange occurrences in his house for a while, but he'd never caught anything on camera. This was the first solid evidence. He immediately sent the video to his friend for confirmation, and his friend admitted he could see the creature too. Now, he's no idea what's going on. Could his house be haunted, or did the spirit follow him home? He uploaded this to a paranormal platform seeking answers. Unfortunately, we don't have the answer he seeks, but do you? A man who lives near the woods started hearing loud screams for help. At first, he thought it was someone in danger, so he grabbed his hunting rifle and a camera and went out to search for them. But instead of finding a person, he found this. At the top of a tall tree, a bear cub was clinging to the branches, crying out, and the sound it made was eerily similar to a human voice screaming for help. This reminds me of those strange sounds often heard in the woods that some believe are skinwalkers mimicking human voices. Some argue that the bears can mimic sound, which might explain what was happening here. But bears aren't exactly known for mimicking human speech. So what exactly is going on here? Are we the ones reading meaning into the sounds, or does this explain those strange cries people hear in the forests? Hard to say, but please share your thoughts. Moving on to something a bit more digital and technological in nature, AI has made another advancement. This is basically a daily thing now, but this advancement and discovery is a big deal. Scientists have found that artificial intelligence can now tell whether a person is male or female by looking at a single image of their eye with up to 90% accuracy. They explained that the AI was trained using more than 84,000 eye images and was able to spot small differences that doctors couldn't see. This discovery shows that AI can reveal hidden patterns in the human body, which could help improve medical research and detect eye diseases more accurately. The researchers also shared that the AI system was highly accurate, correctly identifying a person's sex in most cases. They said the AI works by noticing tiny details in the eye that aren't visible to the human eye, making it a powerful tool for future healthcare. This ability to find patterns could help doctors discover new ways to diagnose and treat health problems, showing the growing importance of AI in medicine. So, yeah, this is one of those good AI advancements, but it could also be weaponized.
Either way, think happy and positive thoughts and hope. That's all there will be to this.
A cave explorer was out in a newly discovered cave in Arizona when he saw something incredibly strange. It was a humanoid figure standing at the mouth of another cave within the cave. The body of the figure was dark, almost as if it was wearing a bodysuit, but the entire head was glowing. As the explorer watched in shock, the figure stepped out of the cave and began tilting its neck as if observing him from afar. The eerie movements and the glowing head unsettled him so much that he immediately left. He didn't wait to find out who or what it was. Some believe this could be a bioluminescent alien-like creature, while skeptics argue that it was just another cave explorer wearing a headlamp or helmet with a bright light. What do you think?
Kasih.
These days, parents often leave their kids in front of children's shows to keep them occupied and out of the way. But could this actually be harming them more than helping? Many parents have noticed strange behaviors in their children, especially when watching Cocomelon. Some kids will drop everything and rush to the TV the moment it comes on. Others, even when fast asleep, jolt awake the second they hear the show's intro music. Studies suggest that shows like these use intense colors and rapid scene changes that overstimulate young brains, almost putting them into a trance-like state. This explains why kids get so glued to the screen and why they throw huge tantrums when it's turned off. We are unknowingly frying our children's brains with this level of stimulation. Maybe it's time to be more mindful of what to let them watch. Or maybe I'm just buying into the conspiracy I know nothing about. Do we have a psychologist here to confirm this?
Over.
A man was driving past a graveyard when he noticed something like this. We've had clips like this in the past, but this one adds a bit of an interesting detail. We see 3 turkeys running in circles around a gravestone marked with the name Harris. The turkeys never stopped. They didn't slow down, didn't break formation, but just kept circling the grave over and over. Now, turkeys are known to circle things they perceive as a threat, but this was just a gravestone, not a predator, not a moving object, just a stone. Some people believe the turkeys were acting on instinct, seeing the headstone as some kind of a threat, but others think there's something deeper going on. One user made a comment we have never come across in all our time of seeing this clip. He stated that animals are often believed to have a sharp sense of the spiritual and are able to detect things that humans can't see or feel. We already knew this, but he goes a bit further. He adds that turkeys are able to sense the punishments from the grave. This took us by surprise, and he didn't go any further. Sensing the punishment from the grave? Well, what the hell does that mean? Was he trying to say the owner of the grave was being punished and the turkeys were aware? Also, why didn't he care to explain further? This has got me and all my team thinking. Perhaps we're overthinking, but what do you guys also make of this? Is there some kind of sign of a spirit activity going on and around the grave, or are these turkeys, well, just being turkeys?
Maybe he choked on one of their buddies during Christmas.
Still on conspiracies, if we can call this one that, we got one of those science clips that makes me wish I'd paid more attention in school.
Nobody has an explanation for this yet. Nobody has an explanation for how the world can shift from like it is now into this in a few thousand years, and how it can shift from this back to an interglacial age like we're in now in a few thousand years. Nobody has that explanation yet. Now, given that, should we say that the debate about climate change is over? I don't think so.
This guy's asking questions, big ones. Specifically, how has our planet changed so drastically over the past 1,000 years? To answer, he basically says no one knows. He mentions Earth going through interglacial periods, recovering, and then slipping back into the same state. He points out that such shifts require energy, yet there's no clear explanation for where that energy comes from or what triggers this so-called transfiguration, if we can call it that. Then, with a grin, he teases that he knows the answer, only to brush it off with a laugh. So what do you think? Are his questions legit? Does he have a point? Or is he just leaving out key details to make things sound more mysterious than they actually are?
So how, for 5 or 6 or 7,000 years, literally, you're going to turn on something that's half or 3/4 again as much solar energy, heat energy, as available in the Saharan desert, and you're going to turn that on this ice sheet continuously for 5 or 6,000 years until the entire mass is gone. Who has an explanation for that? Nobody. Well, with a couple of exceptions. Me.
Lately, there have been plane crashes happening all over. The most recent one was on Monday, February the 17th, 2025. Flight Delta 4819 crashed into Toronto Pearson Airport in Canada and flipped upon impact. There were 80 people on board at the time, and while no one died, 18 people were reported injured. Just 3 weeks earlier, there was already another incident at DC Reagan Airport where an airplane and a helicopter collided. This is setting off some alarm bells. People are starting to suspect that these incidents aren't exactly isolated, but could be part of something bigger, maybe even an attack. Some believe that this could be the work of hackers spoofing airplane GPS signals. This kind of interference could mislead pilots and has reportedly been responsible for multiple crashes since 2020. While some explanations have come from authorities explaining the complex failure that led to this crash, not everyone is convinced, especially in the light of recent evidence. They think authorities are just covering up the spoofing attacks. This is way out of my pay grade, as I'm no aviation expert, but could the experts here help us with this one? This footage was shared by a wildlife photographer in Canada. Captured after a snowstorm, the entire landscape was blanketed in snow. But near a wooden pole by the roadside, she spotted something heartbreaking. A coyote frozen mid-stride. The poor animal was clearly dead, but the question is, what happened? Some believe it was attacked and injured, eventually stumbling to the pole before succumbing to its wounds. Yet, as the camera pans around the animal, there are no visible injuries or blood on its coat. Others speculate that a car might have hit it, but instead of dying on impact, it managed to walk a few steps before collapsing. However, its stance doesn't show signs of pain or distress. Another theory is that the coyote simply froze to death, unable to find shelter in the harsh cold. Whatever the cause, it's undeniably heartbreaking to die alone in the snow, frozen in place like a statue. The poor creature must have suffered in its final moments. This is not a fate I'd wish for anyone. Moving on, a man was driving when he noticed something incredible on the side of the road, prompting him to pull over and start filming. Right there, hovering in the sky, was what appeared to be a flying saucer. It was a classic disc-shaped object floating effortlessly. The sight was so unbelievable that he wasn't the only one who stopped to capture it. As he turned his camera around, it became clear that multiple people had also pulled over, all pointing their phones at the mysterious object. The footage looks remarkably clear. There's no blurriness and no sudden camera movements that might suggest trickery. You know what? Yeah, scratch that. That was a shake and there's a noticeable blur because it's fully zoomed in. But the way the object remains suspended in the air without any visible means of propulsion only added to the mystery. Some skeptics argue that it's just an advanced drone or experimental aircraft, but others believe this could be undeniable proof that we are not alone. What say you? What you're looking at is current-day Detroit. An alleged serious flood recently took place there. According to the individual reporting, what makes this situation even more extreme is that after the flooding, the cold weather caused everything to freeze over, turning the entire area into a frozen wasteland. As you can see, cars are trapped in ice with frozen floodwater reaching halfway up to their windows, leaving vehicles and streets completely encased. When I saw this, it gave me chills, literally. But after doing some research, I must say I'm glad that I did. As bad as this looks, it turns out it was just one block that had a water main break. The clip was taken from the lower part of the city where the water was sitting still. Combine that with the freezing temperatures and you have this. So while it's not impending doom, at least we know the situation can be controlled compared to it being a flood or something like that. According to the sources, people woke up in the middle of the night to find this woman climbing down from their neighbor's house. She stumbles backwards and falls. Then she crawls on all fours into some small bushes nearby. As you can see, the people are just watching and filming her. When the footage got online, the claim was that she was a witch, but look at this and listen to my theory carefully. A drunk woman attempts to climb down a building but gives up and ends up falling to the ground. Out of embarrassment and an inability to stay on her feet, she crawls behind some plants to hide. And instead of helping her, these people just stand there filming and calling her a witch. This is just absurd. But that's society today. Everyone wants to be the one to break the news, so they all watch her struggle and the only thing they can think of is to record.
What's the world becoming, huh?
¿Pero para dónde va?
Mira eso, Satana. Te voy a enterrar que tú mismo el mismo coño. Vete ahí de la puta coño, lo que sabes
It's real hot out, so I gotta get this back in the freezer. Now it is light because it's dried out. It's been in a freezer since, not the same freezer, but it's been in freezers since September 23rd, 1953. But you can see it is real.
So this man claims that what he's holding is a Bigfoot arm. It does look like the arm of a giant primate. Just look at the size of it. The arm appears very dried up. According to him, this arm had been in his family for years, ever since 1953, when his grandfather supposedly hunted a Bigfoot and dismembered it, keeping its parts in the fridge all this time. Just look at it. It looks pretty legit, right? Well, no, this footage has proven to be a hoax, but I must say, it does look very convincing.
It's a Bigfoot hand, or arm. It's an arm. You can see the size comparison to mine. And like I said, I gotta get it back in the freezer, but I did want to show you all.
This fisherman was on his way to fish when he stumbled upon something shocking deep in the forest near the river he was heading to. Lying on the ground was a massive shed snakeskin. It's long and thick and stretches far. The sheer size of the skin suggested that the snake that left it behind was enormous, possibly one of the biggest ever recorded. I wonder what kind of snake could have shed this. Some believe it could belong to a giant anaconda or a massive python, both of which are known to reach incredible lengths. If that's the case, this could be one of the largest snake skins ever discovered. Have you ever noticed how ancient architecture built long before modern technology seems far more intricate and complex than the skyscrapers we see today? Well, maybe that's an exaggeration, but you get the point, right? The ancient world has massive buildings with impossible proportions, elaborate sculptures, towering castles, and finally detailed shrines. Yet, despite all our technological advancements, we no longer build like this. But why? Some believe that ancient civilizations had advanced technology that enabled them to create these architectural marvels, but over time, humanity experienced a great reset, losing all knowledge of it. Others theorize that we weren't alone, but higher beings may have helped guide these constructions, especially since complex mathematical concepts weren't formally developed until much later. So if we supposedly didn't have the tools or calculations back then, how did we do it? Could there be a missing piece of history that we aren't being told? Will we ever discover it? Kindly share your thoughts. This footage was allegedly recorded by a scientist who collected a dead alien specimen for an autopsy. As you can see, it looks lifeless, with its skin being a pinkish hue fading to pale. The creature's very small, about the size of a baby, but it appears to be fully matured. It's missing its arms and has a cut on the side of its head, which seems like a recent injury. Some people claim this is just a hoax, possibly a man-made latex model crafted to look like an alien. They argue that the details are too convenient and the timing suspicious. However, there are others who firmly believe this is the real deal. What do you think? Are we looking at genuine extraterrestrial remains, or is this just another case of a clever fabrication? This video was taken from a security camera set at a road checkpoint in an unnamed location. It shows a dark shadow moving under the barriers, pausing for a moment, and then continuing on. This shadow seems to take calculated steps, almost as if it has a mind of its own. This rules out the idea that it might just be a regular shadow. Considering the footage was taken at night, it raises even more questions. How is there a shadow without a main body in the first place? To this, Aaron has a simple answer. It's a shadow creature. Given how the shadow moves with purpose and intelligence, I'm tempted to believe this is true. Obviously, Julius objects. He thinks it's edited footage, but then again, he thinks all such clips are. What do you guys think, though? A sign of the supernatural for you, or an attempt by ordinary men to mislead the masses? Let's hear your thoughts. In this next clip, you can see a man using a metal thing to strike a rock. The rock, which was initially gray, suddenly turns red within a matter of seconds. This is quite unusual, as rocks are typically considered non-living and shouldn't react to being hit. Various commenters have offered their theories in an attempt to explain this phenomenon. Some have suggested that the rock is a type of red stone that changes color when struck. Several others have suggested that the rock may contain either magnesium or magnetite. Magnetite is a natural stone that has magnetic properties. One commenter clarified that magnetite has natural magnetic south properties, which means that it can attract or repel other magnets. While these are interesting observations, they don't truly explain what exactly caused the rock to turn red. Rocks aren't exactly my thing, so can you help? Or is this just a paranormal occurrence? When I saw this, the first thing that came to mind was possessed, but then again I thought to myself, perhaps there might be a medical explanation for this, and so I did some research and discovered that there's not. There's no condition that makes the eye as dark as we see. I turned to my paranormal groups, and it turns out my instincts were right. This has to do with paranormal entities that take the form of children to beg for help and, well, do horrible things to those who help them later. This child, on the other hand, looks cute and appears to be with a family. Could our hypothesis be wrong? Could the child have been replaced by some vile spirit, or is this a medical condition I didn't discover in my research? So many questions and yet no answers. Whatever the situation, I can't help but feel sad for the baby, if it is indeed one. Poor baby. Still on strange things in nature, this creature was found washed up on the seashore. As you can see, it has a pair of arms and a fish-like body, but its face looks very alien-like. Unlike typical fish, its body did not have scales. It was smooth and darker in color. Its combination of human-like arms, a fish body, and an alien-like face suggests something out of the ordinary. As usual, speculation is rife. Some people believe it could be a mutated sea creature affected by environmental changes or pollution. Others think it might be an undiscovered marine species that dwell in the unexplored depths of the ocean. There are even those who suggest it could be evidence of extraterrestrial life or a hybrid creature resulting from unknown experiments. What do you think this creature could be? Have you ever seen an ancient Jewish scroll? No? Well, today you're in luck. When he starts taking out the parchment, it looks old and worn out. It doesn't look like anything special, but once he's done unwrapping, we see the scroll in its ancient beauty. Nothing can beat that golden glowing text and the illustration within it. Do we have any Jew or archaeologist here to confirm the authenticity of what we're seeing? If you're here, please let your voices be heard in the comments section, or rather, your texts be seen. Please confirm or disprove this for us. We're very interested and intrigued. Next, we've got a man who was exploring a cave mine thinking he was alone, but then he noticed something unusual from one of the mine portals. There, emerging from the shadows, was a humanoid dark figure with a glowing head. Naturally, the internet had a field day with this one. Some commenters quickly dismissed it, saying it was just a person with a headlamp. That's the rational explanation, and it makes sense. I mean, it does look like an explorer with a high-powered headlamp that may just be giving off an otherworldly glow in the darkness. But others were not so sure. They felt there was more at play. What if it's not just a headlamp? What if it's something supernatural? Mines and caves have long been the settings for ghost stories and legends. The combination of isolation and the unknown depths make them perfect breeding grounds for tales of the unexplained, and this could be one of them. This bizarre-looking set of remains was found deep in the forest. The carcass is massive and you can clearly see the ribs. However, when you get to the head, there's something truly alarming. The head looks strikingly similar to one of the raptors from Jurassic World. This doesn't even look like it was made. It's covered in dust and embedded in the forest's floor, indicating that this thing has been here for quite a while. Could these be the remains of a dinosaur? Perhaps one that somehow survived until more recent times, long after dinosaurs were believed to have gone extinct. Just imagine a dinosaur or something very much like it existing in our time. How did it survive? What did it eat? Where did it live? These are questions that scientists would be eager to explore. Experts in paleontology and zoology would need to examine the remains closely, analyzing the bone structure and possibly extracting DNA to determine what kind of creature this was. For now, we can only speculate, but one thing is certain: this discovery is extraordinary and needs a thorough investigation. This next footage was taken back in 2011 in Russia. A man was out hiking in the woods when he stumbled upon something truly remarkable. Walking among the trees was a huge creature covered in brown fur from head to toe. It stood about 8 feet tall with massive muscles that were clearly visible even under its thick coat. The creature swung its very long arms as it took huge strides through the forest, moving with an unexpected grace for something so large. The hiker managed to capture a few minutes of this extraordinary sight before the clip ended. Could this be true proof that Bigfoot is actually out there? After all, the figure matches many descriptions from eyewitnesses over the years. Towering height, immense strength, and a covering of dark fur. The long arms and fluid motion are also consistent with previous reports and alleged sightings. Julius argues that this is a person in a costume, but the sheer size and natural movement of the creature makes this explanation less likely. Aaron believes that Julius lost this round and that the paranormal allegiance, which is a name he gave to all believers in the paranormal, has won. What say you? This footage was taken on Mount Athos by a man who was up there hiking. For those unfamiliar with it, Mount Athos, also known as the Holy Mountain, is a significant spiritual and monastic center located on the peninsula in northern Greece. People usually go there to pray and seek spiritual guidance, so I'm guessing this is how this footage was taken. From a distance, you can see a hazy figure that has a rainbow around it. That is believed to be the invisible monk of Mount Athos. Legend has it that an unnamed monk who had lived a pure and holy life and was dedicated to asceticism and prayer was rewarded with invisibility and would only appear to those in need of spiritual guidance. Could it be that he'd come to fulfill the need of that man filming that he was not aware of? While we think of that, Julius believes this clip is edited. Now, Julius always has this stance when it comes to these kinds of videos, but could he be wrong today? Anyway, you guys tell me what you think in the comments section below. I wish I could tell you that that's the end of the weird stuff, but no, it gets weirder. Take a look at this next clip. Yup, those are alleged alien babies. We don't call this show Classified Captures for no reason. This was also sent in by a user here claiming to be part of a secret team that takes care of alien babies on the planet. As proof, he or she sent in this clip. I say he or she because the individual refused to share any personal information at the risk of being discovered by the organization he or she works with. The exchange was exciting at first because of the mysterious nature of the person involved. Once we got this clip, however, it just didn't feel that way anymore. My team started suspecting right away that there had to be clips of silicon babies in the form of aliens. Sure enough, we did find the clip somewhere with people calling it silicon. You've seen the clip too, so what do you think? Our next clip was taken by the pilot of a military craft. The pilot of the aircraft was on a routine flight when he noticed an unknown craft flying nearby. The craft was circular and had an appearance similar to a saucer. It flew past the pilot's aircraft without any interaction or acknowledgement. According to the pilot, he had no idea what the craft was, which ruled out the possibility of it being a drone. What is intriguing about the video is that the craft seems to be highly advanced and unlike any human-made aircraft. There's no clear explanation as to what the craft could have been, and it remains a mystery. Do you think it could have been a UFO? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. This couple was busily filming themselves doing some acrobatic moves. You know, those cute couple videos where the guy lifts the girl and they strike a perfect pose together. They were fully concentrating on their routine when something unexpected happened. Out of nowhere, a book from the shelf by the wall just flings itself off and lands on the floor. Now here's the interesting part. The couple was nowhere near the shelf. They were completely focused on their pose far away from where the book fell. But if you look closely at the footage, you'll notice the cat. Yes, their cat was standing by, looking intently at the exact spot where the book landed, almost as if it was sensing something unusual. What do you make of this? Is this a case of paranormal activity, or is there a more logical explanation? This video was taken in China, where a huge red glow was captured behind the clouds, and that was not all. Small white glows were coming from all directions towards the bigger red glow. As soon as the smaller lights reached the red glow, they vanished. This phenomena was even more striking at night, with the red glow appearing more prominent against the dark sky. It looked like the smaller white orbs were drawn to the big red one, almost as if they were being summoned. Everyone had one question on their mind. What could these be? One popular theory suggested that this could be evidence of an alien mothership with smaller ships returning to it. This would explain the organized movements of the smaller orbs toward the larger glow. Others believe it could be a natural atmospheric event, perhaps related to some unknown type of aurora or electrical discharge. Others speculate it could be a military vehicle. Others speculate it could be a secret military experiment involving advanced drones or aircraft. What's your take? Can you do the split? I know a majority of us here can't do it. I must confess I can't. What if I told you I met a mouse that could? Don't believe me? Watch. Yeah, that's a mouse doing the split. We're not exactly sure how it got there, but it's remaining there by doing the split. My team thinks it was trying to escape the humans, and that's not impossible. When survival mode kicks in, it's amazing the things we can do. A split would have been the last thing on my mind, but here it is. There's also the possibility that the people recording it put it there to garner views, but that would just be cruel. Enjoy the natural split. Something beautiful, something exquisite, something rare. Take a look. Now what are we looking at here? A strange-looking cat-like creature in the forest. What could this guy be? Well, this is a jaguarandi. For those unfamiliar with it, the jaguarandi is a fascinating wild cat that could be found across the Americas. It's a medium-sized animal with a unique appearance characterized by a small head, a long, slender body, and short legs. The jaguarandi's coat can vary from reddish-brown to grayish-brown, and it has a long, bushy tail that's often darker at the tip. This wild cat is a solitary and elusive creature, which makes it quite challenging to spot in the wild. It's known to be active during both the day and night as it hunts for small mammals, reptiles, and birds. The jaguarandi's diet is quite diverse, and it can feed on anything from rodents to lizards to small birds. The jaguarandi is a quiet and relatively calm animal. It's not particularly aggressive and will usually avoid humans if possible. However, it is still a wild animal and should be treated with caution and respect if encountered in the wild. Where does this rank on your list of favorite cats? Let us know in the comments section. Two men were out in the woods one night when they came across this intriguing sight. It appears to be a mound covered in moss with a hatch on top. Curiously, they opened the hatch, which led them into a chamber with what looked like a pool of water in it and a tunnel on the side. They decided to explore the tunnel, but it seems they could not get to the end. Well, at least in the footage they didn't. They followed the tunnel path, crouching as they walked through the tunnel, and it was not big enough to stand upright. The walls were damp and the air felt musty, suggesting it had been undisturbed for a long time. The tunnel seemed to stretch endlessly into the darkness, and one can only imagine what might lie at the end. Was it an old, forgotten hideout, a natural cave system, or perhaps something more mysterious? Kindly share your thoughts. Do you believe in demons? Wait, is that a strange question to start the day's episode with? Well, let's watch our first clip and then we'll understand my question. I'm not exactly sure where this is, but in the clip we see a man moving through some bushes where out of nowhere a dark shadow comes out. And well, I'm not exactly sure what it does, but it appears to jump onto the man and then disappear into the bushes. I want to call this a shadow creature, but Aaron, our in-house conspiracy theorist and all things paranormal, believes this might actually be a demon. Looking at it, I get why he thinks that, but while I love all things otherworldly and paranormal, this just feels sus. I can't place my finger on it, but that's how I feel looking at it. A closer look at the clip and you'll realize that there appears to be men in white protective suits. A commentator on the original post had this to say: "If you ask me, he's onto something there. If it's indeed a murder site, perhaps we may be looking at a demonic entity responsible for the deaths, or one that's manifested from the deaths." If anyone told me I'd start an episode with a clip like this, I would have laughed, but here it is. The question on everyone's mind is this: what exactly are we looking at? Yeah, that's a road flooded with water and ice. Just look at that. I hope the person who took the footage is fine because the water is at the same level as the front mirror, and the car is submerged in it. Nature is scary. The sheer power and unpredictability of natural forces can be overwhelming. Floods like this remind us of how vulnerable we are to the elements. One moment everything is calm, and the next you're facing a torrent of icy water that could sweep away cars and pose serious dangers to anyone caught in its path. It's astonishing how quickly conditions can change, transforming a familiar road into a hazardous river. The combination of water and ice makes it even more treacherous, with the risk of hypothermia and the challenge of navigating through ice chunks. On second thought, is that even ice at all? And how hasn't the engine given up already? Share your thoughts. If you have got trypophobia, skip this one. You have been warned. What we have here is the fascinating and somewhat eerie sight of a mother Suriname toad. These creatures are truly unique in the animal kingdom, and what you're seeing is a remarkable example of their distinctive reproductive process. The holes on her back from which the baby toads are emerging are part of an extraordinary adaptation. Instead of laying eggs in water like most amphibians, the Suriname toad has developed a method that keeps her offspring safe and close. Here's how it works. The female Suriname toad lays her eggs, and then the male fertilizes them. But instead of leaving the eggs in the water, the male pushes them into the skin on her back, where they become embedded in individual pockets. Over time, the skin grows over these pockets, creating a honeycomb-like structure. Inside these pockets, the eggs hatch and the tadpoles develop, staying safe and nourished by their mother's body until they're ready to emerge as fully formed little toads. This process is not only unique but also a bit unsettling to watch. Seeing tiny toads pop out from the holes in her back can be surprising and might make your skin crawl a little. Yet it's a brilliant evolutionary strategy, ensuring that the young have a higher chance of survival by keeping them protected during their most vulnerable stages. Creepy, but fascinating. There have been a lot of archaeological findings of mummies with strange body proportions discovered in different parts of the world. Some people claim that they're merely dolls made from bones, and others believe these mummies are evidence of aliens that once roamed the earth. Take a look at this alien-looking mummy that was retrieved from Peru. This mummy is a tridactyl, meaning it has 3 fingers and toes. It's very small, about the size of a baby, and is almost coiled up like in a fetal position. When you look at the head, it's huge and elongated, with eyes set very far apart. The facial structure is unlike anything seen in typical human mummies, giving it an undeniably otherworldly appearance. Scientists and researchers have been puzzled by such findings. Some argue that these mummies could be the result of genetic anomalies or intentional cranial deformation practices common in ancient cultures. However, the tridactyl nature and peculiar proportions make it challenging to fit these mummies into any known category of human remains. Skeptics suggest these could be an elaborate hoax or ritual artifacts crafted by ancient civilizations, but for those who believe in extraterrestrial life, these mummies are compelling evidence of alien beings visiting or even living on Earth in the distant past. To them, these beings are nothing more than hybrids of aliens and humans. What do you think? Next, I've got something that's gonna blow your mind. Would you look at that? A real-life Pikachu. It's brightly colored yellow with black spots on the tips of its ears and tail. The creature walks on all fours, but it isn't as chubby as Pikachu. This little guy looks like it walked straight out of a Pokemon game and into our world. With its vibrant yellow fur and those distinct black markings, it's easy to see why people are calling it a real-life Pikachu. Nature is full of surprises, and we've seen animals with unusual colorations before, thanks to genetic mutations or selective breeding. There are species of animals, like certain rodents or marsupials, that might develop unique color patterns that resemble our beloved Pikachu. However, the chances of finding a naturally occurring animal with such precise coloring and markings are incredibly slim. So the big question is it real or AI generated? No, that spider isn't moonwalking, but it is walking on water. It looks like something out of a fairy tale, except it's not. This here is a type of tarantula that has tiny hairs on its leg that allow it to avoid breaking surface tension. In simpler terms, this quality allows it to walk on water without sinking. The sight is mesmerizing and a bit eerie. After all, there's a tarantula defying the laws of nature. The tiny hairs, known as setae, are what enable this remarkable feat. The combination of the spider's black body with the striking white spots on its legs makes it look almost otherworldly as it moves effortlessly across the water's surface. But rest assured, nothing alien or paranormal happening here. It's just science. If any of you come across any of these spiders, share your experience. Now take a look at another wonder that was captured by a group of hikers. They stumbled upon this massive rock structure, but guess what? They discovered that this rock wasn't just a solid mass. It had compartments with doors that could be opened, leading into a tunnel. Being the logical beings they are, they didn't dare venture inside. Around the world, there are numerous secret facilities, many constructed during wartime for people to hide out. Interestingly, in some of these facilities, strange and suspicious things have been found that don't quite fit the narrative of being mere wartime hideouts for soldiers. Considering this stone structure in the middle of nowhere, what could have been done there? Was it an ancient facility of some sort, or perhaps the lair of an intelligent being? Some think that it's how Bigfoot hides from us. Sounds ludicrous, I know, but we still need an explanation, so share your thoughts. These strange skulls were found in a chest by archaeologists. The chest was marked with the sign of what is believed to be a German occult organization. This organization was known for hunting down relics and artifacts, often with a mysterious and supernatural reputation. The big question is, how did they come into contact with these strange skulls? As with many questions on this channel, we don't have a definite answer. The skulls have a very odd shape. The top part is unusually fat and elongated. The eye sockets are extremely large, and the jaws are much longer than we see in human skulls. Some people believe these skulls might be of extraterrestrial origin, suggesting that they could belong to aliens who visited Earth in the distant past. Others propose that these could be the remains of lizard people, an idea that has its roots in various conspiracy theories about reptilian humanoids living amongst us. What do you think? Ever seen anything like it? A whitish, long creature with a crocodile-shaped head, two short arms close to the head, and a very long body that brings to mind a sperm. Don't get me wrong, but for its head, it would really look like a sperm. As much as I would love to tell you this is edited footage, the truth is that it's not. It's a creature that exists in real life, called the Olm. For those unfamiliar, like me until a few hours ago, the Olm is an amphibian that lives in the waters of subterranean caves in Europe. Unlike most amphibians, Olms are entirely aquatic. They eat, sleep, and breed underwater. They've adapted to their dark environment by losing their eyesight and developing heightened senses of smell and hearing. They are fascinating creatures, often referred to as human fish due to their pale skin-like color. Despite their eerie appearance, Olms are quite harmless. I know what some of you are thinking: exotic pets. Banish that thought. During a lightning storm, someone captured something incredible in the sky, a shadowy figure that looks like a giant. Take a look.
Oh, holy fucking shit, guys.
The figure, cloaked in a robe and holding a stick, appeared and disappeared as quickly as the lightning struck. It looks like a scene straight out of a myth or fairy tale came to life for just a moment. We all know the story of Jack and the Beanstalk with its giant living in the clouds. Could it be that giants do exist, but in a form we don't yet understand? Perhaps they live in another dimension or realm only visible to us under specific conditions like this lightning strike. That would be cool, and I'm getting excited just thinking about it. But then again, we live in a world of AI, deepfakes, and clever editing. Could this be someone making fun of the paranormal community? Let us know what you think.
Oh, holy fucking shit, guys.
We started this clip with one unusual Facebook Live video.
That's my backyard. I'm just putting in a little piece. This is the exact spot that I just
This young lad was home when he realized strange and unusual things were happening. It felt like there was someone home with him, but that shouldn't have been the case because he was home alone. He called out a number of times asking if anyone was there, but there was no response. Freaked out, he went live on his social media page and started telling everyone what was happening. It was at this moment that whatever it was that was moving around his property decided to sneak across his yard. Unfortunately for the being, and fortunately for him, his camera was facing in the direction the being moved, and he was able to capture a few seconds of footage. That's what you see on your screen. The big question now is, what is that? The simple answer, no one knows. He suspects it's some unknown cryptid, and judging by its size and movement, I'm tempted to agree with the hypothesis. It seems like whatever it is, it didn't want to be seen and didn't want any trouble. Once his friends saw what he saw, they rushed to his home to see if they could find it, but they couldn't. They chose to upload this to find answers, and the paranormal community was divided about it. Some saw a demon, others a cryptid, and a small sect, an otherworldly creature. The strangest answer was from this user. He believed it was an ostrich. There were also some who thought the whole thing had to be fake or CGI. Given the quality of the clip, it's hard to tell without a professional's input, and our video editor is away with Julius on a mission we can't tell you about yet. So I'm gonna fall back on you for this one. What do you guys think is happening here? Do you think this is real or not? Let us know in the comments section.
That's the exact motherfucking spot now. That's my backyard. I'm zooming in a little piece. This is the exact spot that I just...
Look at that fucking devil, evil face, man. He's coming over, like he's got doom and gloom over fucking Leveland. Yeah, he's looking right at us, man.
That shit's fucking crazy. Wait up, if you go.
Doom and loom, I'm telling you, Leveland's been fucking getting fucked this summer. And this is the area where it got fucked the most. But that is nuts. That is like a real life fucking devil face. I'm coming for you.
Still on strange occurrences in the sky, a man captured this striking cloud formation that looks like a giant devil in the sky with a menacing look. Just look at that. The details are eerily uncanny, with what seems to be a face complete with horns and a sinister expression. It's very scary to think about, seeing such an ominous figure looming in the clouds. This phenomena is likely an example of pareidolia, where the human brain perceives familiar patterns such as faces in random or ambiguous visuals. However, it's fascinating how nature can sometimes create these spooky and awe-inspiring sights. Whether you see it as a natural coincidence or something more, it's certainly a chilling and memorable sight.
And this is the area where it got fucked the most. But that is nuts. That is like a real life fucking devil face. I'm coming for you.
Still on the topic of UFOs, we have another intriguing sighting to discuss. Unfortunately, the exact location of this footage was not provided.
Right now! Right now! What is that? What is that? What is that?
In the clip, a strange light appears in the sky, almost like a burst of energy squirming in the atmosphere with an unusual glow surrounding it. As you watch, the two oddly shaped orbs emerge from this light. I mean, they might not be orbs, but from the distance, that's what they look like. One of the orbs moves to the left and the other to the right. After a brief separation, the orb on the left changes course and follows the one on the right. What adds to the mystery is the apparent intelligence behind the orb's actions. If they were simply random lights or natural occurrences, we wouldn't expect to see such purposeful behavior. This has led to many to conclude that we may indeed be dealing with UFOs. Perhaps they only look like orbs because their lights are that bright. Some even suggested that the bright light is nothing more than a portal through which they came. You've seen the clip too. What do you think?
Right now! Right now! Right now! What is that? What is that? What is that?
Good morning, guys. It is literally 5 a.m. and I opened the back door to put some dry food out for the stray kitties. And there are people feet printed all over my deck in the snow. Okay, I'm gonna open this. I'm not going out there. Do you see this? They start over there. And it like barefoot walks up to the table. There's nothing coming up to the... Maybe there is some coming up to the door. What? And I don't see any in the yard.
Next, we've got this clip from a woman who shared a strange and eerie encounter she's been experiencing at her home. She lives near the woods, and every once in a while, stray cats come to her doorstep, so she feeds them. One night, she woke up to the stray cats crying outside. Concerned, she went out to put some food out for them. That's when she noticed something unsettling. On her deck, where there was a thin layer of snow, there were prints, human footprints, lots of them. It looked like a group of people had come to stand there. The footprints led from the woods and then back into the woods. The footprints were human-sized, about the same size as her own feet. Not knowing what to make of it, she went back in and slept. The next day, she shared the footage online. A commenter asked her to contact the police, but she said she already did that, and they said since there was no break, there was not much they could do. A few nights later, she noticed the footprints again. They came from the woods and returned to the woods just like before. It's snowing out and very late at night. Who would be walking barefoot in the snow, and why were they always visiting her house? People online had all sorts of theories. Some suggested it might be a group of pranksters trying to spook her. Others thought it could be something more supernatural, a ghostly visitation, or even a mysterious group of people living in the woods. Whatever the case, we don't have answers, but she seems to be doing well. She even joked with one of the commenters on her page. It's our prayer that her life isn't in any danger and that she's as safe as she believes.
Do you see this? They start over there. And it like barefoot walks up to the table. There's nothing coming up to the... Maybe there is some coming up to the door.
A man by the name of Erwin Saunders claims to have captured pixies in the forest. Let's take a look at the clip he posted to support his claim.
He's been trying to hurl these across to his accomplice on the other side. And if I just move the camera across, you'll be able to see just there. He's gesturing back to him and saying, "Come on, throw another one."
In the clip, we see small humanoid creatures with green skin, bald heads, and pointy ears on the sides of their heads. Both were on rocks that were a bit apart from each other. One had these wooden contraptions on its back and had gathered some sort of fruits on it, while the other was making hand motions as if asking for some of the fruits to be thrown to it. It's very fascinating to watch and looks very real. Pixies are often depicted in folklore as playful and mischievous creatures, usually associated with nature and woodland areas. The details in Erwin's footage, from the appearance of the creatures to their behavior, looks very convincing. However, in this age of advanced technology and digital effects, it's essential to approach such extraordinary claims with a healthy dose of skepticism. On the other hand, the world is full of unexplained phenomena, and there's always the possibility that there are things out there that we have yet to discover. What are your thoughts on this?
There, he's gesturing back to him and saying, "Come on, throw another one."
What you're seeing here are known as iridescent clouds, a rare and breathtaking phenomena that looks like it's straight out of a fantasy movie. Iridescent clouds are formed when tiny water droplets or ice crystals in the cloud scatter and diffract light, creating a stunning array of colors that shimmer and change as the clouds move. The result is a sky painted with hues of pink, green, purple, and blue, often appearing in soft pastel shades. It's like nature's very own light show. These clouds are most commonly seen near the sun, often around cumulus or lenticular clouds, and they're best viewed when the sun is low in the sky, either just after sunrise or just before sunset. The delicate and transient beauty of iridescent cloud makes them a truly magical sight to behold. But here's the catch. Because they're so rare and fleeting, catching a glimpse of iridescent clouds can feel like spotting a unicorn. It requires just the right conditions, the presence of high-altitude clouds, tiny and uniform particles within the clouds, and, of course, the perfect angle of sunlight. Throughout history, iridescent clouds have inspired awe and wonder, often being mistaken for supernatural or mystical events. In some cultures, they're seen as omens or messages from the divine. Today we understand the science behind them, but that doesn't make them any less enchanting. Next, we got a group of friends out in Auburn who went fishing one day, hoping for a relaxing day by the water, but their peaceful outing took a wild turn when an unexpected creature appeared not too far from them.
Look at that. What the? Oh my God. Go! Run!
It was an 8-foot-tall being covered in brown fur, striding purposefully towards some nearby bushes. The sheer size and presence of the creature left them in stunned silence for a moment. Then, instincts kicked in, and they bolted straight toward their car, hearts pounding with fear and adrenaline. Luckily, one of them had been filming their fishing adventure, capturing the mysterious figure on camera. The footage is shaky, understandably so given the circumstances, but you could make out the tall, fur-covered creature moving. Now, this clip has the paranormal community excited. Some who live in the area want to go check it out, hoping they can find the big guy. Despite their excitement, however, there are those who believe the whole thing was staged by the friends. What do you think?
That. What the? Oh my God. Go! Run!
Would you believe me if I told you we're at the point of growing aircraft skins and building planes that can change their shapes mid-flight? Sounds futuristic, I know, but listen.
New materials that are on the lab bench right now, they can literally change shape on command. They can become almost a muscular material.
We could have an airplane that optimizes its shape for the different flight conditions it's in.
Lockheed Martin has always been at the forefront of groundbreaking technology, but their latest innovations are truly mind-blowing. They recently announced the development of an aircraft skin that could optimize its shape based on the type of flight. Sounds eerily similar to the descriptions of UFOs we've heard over the years, right? One of the men mentions OS, an aircraft that can change its shape mid-flight to become more aerodynamic, efficient, or stealthy, depending on the situation. This kind of adaptive technology could revolutionize aviation as we know it. No longer would aircraft be limited by a fixed design. They could morph and adapt, much like how nature's most efficient flyers, like birds, adjust their wing shapes. But here's where it gets even more interesting. The concept of shape-shifting aircraft brings to mind the countless UFO sightings reported worldwide. Many of these unidentified flying objects are described as having the ability to change shape or perform maneuvers that defy conventional aerodynamics. Could Lockheed Martin be inching us closer to technologies that once seemed purely science fiction? While I would love to think so, some individuals in the paranormal community believe they already have the technology and are only sensitizing us to it before they launch it. There are some who also believe that the aliens we see are no aliens at all. They believe it's Lockheed and his team testing their technology, or even running it. What do you think?
New materials that are on the lab bench right now, they can literally change shape on command. They can become almost a muscular material.
We could have an airplane that optimizes its shape for the different flight conditions it's in.
I see this thing. This thing is... What is this? What is this?
And for those of you who haven't already guessed, this is what people believe to be the makeshift homes that those elusive large beasts Bigfoot might build. Take a look at these rectangular-shaped structures in the woods. They're made of tree branches, carefully and methodically put together. Just look at that craftsmanship. The man behind the camera stumbled upon this in the middle of the forest, and right next to the structure, he found a pile of rocks that looked like it could have been used as a fireplace. These structures are fascinating because they're not just random piles of branches. They show a level of intention and design that you wouldn't expect to find in the wild without human intervention. The branches are intertwined in such a way that suggests shelter building skills. So what do you think? Are these real Bigfoot shelters or are they man-made?
I see this thing. This thing is. What is this? What is this?
Now, I've heard many talk about demonic possession and what have you, but I've never seen it in action, at least not like this. Someone sent this in claiming it was from a demonic possession session he witnessed. He wasn't sure if it was the real deal or if he was just being scammed. Sure, the Vatican has warned us over the years that demons do exist and they do take over individuals who live in sin, but I never thought I'd see it. Now, we love to find and discuss paranormal stuff, but without being present, we can't ascertain if this is real or not. The individual who sent it in suspected it could be a performance to captivate unsuspecting believers and seekers of relief with the paranormal. You've seen the clip. What do you think? These bleeding tree clips never get old. Just look at that. A man is cutting through a tree and gushing out his crimson red liquid. It's an astonishing sight, almost as if the tree is alive in a way we don't usually think about. This phenomenon is typically seen in a specific type of tree known as the bloodwood tree, found in places like South Africa. When cut, it releases a sap that resembles blood, adding to its mystique and intrigue. The crimson sap isn't actually blood, of course, but it does serve a purpose. It can act as a deterrent to pests and help seal wounds to protect the tree from infections. The sight of the red sap flowing from the tree can be both mesmerizing and unsettling, making you question the wonders of nature. Have you ever seen anything like this before? Someone came across this unusual creature on the ground in the park. It looked like a bat, but it was out during the day and seemed quite aggressive. It let out a strange growl, like squeak, as it tried to attack the man behind the camera. Finding such a creature during the day is unusual for a bat, as they are typically nocturnal. The aggressive behavior and the strange vocalizations add to the mystery. While bats can sometimes be active during the day due to illness or disturbance, it's rare to encounter one acting so aggressively. What do you think this creature could be? We've always said that most ghosts stay where they died or were murdered. Well, if that's true, have you ever thought of what happens to those who died in an ambulance? Well, this next clip has answers.
Like, I ain't never experienced nothing like this. So as we driving back to base, I swear I seen a face in the rearview mirror. Like,
send somebody as soon as you can.
I need to turn this engine off though, cause like we're gonna be stranded out here.
Yeah, as soon as possible.
Oh, shit.
Thank you.
I don't know if you see it, but can y'all see that back door? Like, it just, oh shit. Like, it just flew open, like, can y'all, oh. Nah, what the what was that? Can y'all see it? Nah, hell no, fuck that, nah.
In the clip, we see a paramedic who appears shaken from seeing something terrifying. Given the nature of their work, you might think he saw something while in the line of duty. Once he starts talking, however, we realize that's not the case. According to him, while driving, he saw a face in his rearview mirror that made him pause. The face scared him so much that he dropped down from the ambulance. Now, this was not the face of a person on board. It was the face of a suspected paranormal, maybe a ghost. While recording, he moves to the ambulance and hears a voice coming from within it. It sounds like the voice of some sort of ghost or paranormal. He then hears a bang and then runs off. Once he's at a safe distance from the vehicle, he mentions that there's actually someone or something in the back, and if you look closely, you might see it. The clip ends with him running off, and I know what you're all thinking. How do we know this is real? Well, there's no definite way that we can know, but think of this. He's recording this in his uniform with a company vehicle. He wouldn't risk his job by doing something like that unless the vehicle and uniform were rented, which would cost more than this video is worth. Other health professionals commented on the original post, and they stated that they have had similar experiences. While we can't verify their claims, I have heard many health workers say things like this. So what do you guys think though? Let us know in the comments section.
No, he on it quick.
Now, this is why you should not mess with Ouija boards. Two guys had a sleepover, and before they retired to bed, they played with a Ouija board. Later that night, one of them woke up to thumping sounds coming from the wall.
You're here, listen.
So he woke his friend up. He then walked up to his closet to check, but there was nothing there, even though the sound persisted. Next, he opened another door that led to what looked like an empty room. However, in the empty room, there was a dark shadow by the wall. As soon as he saw it, he shut the door immediately. Could it be that the boys accidentally summoned a ghost or spirit while playing with the Ouija board? Or are they trying to mislead us for their 5 minutes of fame? Share your thoughts. Religion is often seen as a counterattack against evil forces. At least that's what many religious people believe. They practice rituals like praying, attending Mass, and reading sacred texts such as the Bible or the Quran, believing these acts protect them from dark entities.
El Señor esté con ustedes y con tu espíritu.
Back in 2022, something truly chilling happened in Chihuahua, Mexico that got people talking.
El Señor esté con ustedes y con tu espíritu.
During a mass, while a priest was reading from the Bible, a loud, echoing scream pierced the air. It sounded like a man's voice desperately crying out for help. The eerie sound was so disturbing that they could see the priest and everyone on the podium turn to look back, visibly shaken. The video doesn't show where the scream came from, but it left the congregation and viewers online deeply unsettled. Some people believe it might have been a sign of a tormented soul or even a dark entity reacting to the holy reading.
El Señor esté con ustedes y con tu espíritu.
Secrets was in Japan with her family on a night out. They were just taking a stroll, she, her husband, and their 2 sons. The boys were standing by a sakura tree while their father filmed them when suddenly he noticed something strange in the video. On one of the boy's legs, there was a pale hand gripping him from behind. The boy didn't seem to feel anything, didn't move, didn't see it, but his father did. Panicked, he rushed over, but by the time he got there, the hand had vanished. He looked around the tree, but there was nothing in sight. When Dark Secrets posted the video, the comments section blew up with theories. One commenter said it might be an ashwang, but traditionally, ashwangs are floating heads and aren't known to have hands. Another commenter suggested it was a duende, a type of mischievous spirit. Others speculated that it could be an entity from the tree, something attaching itself to the boy. Japan is famous for its haunting folklore and eerie encounters, so could that be the case here? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. Animals all have unique ways to ensure their safety and survival in the ecosystem. Now let's look at this extraordinary method used by a particular species of fish.
这个尾巴你看这些都哭笨笨的了啦，哭成这个样子。他们说这个鱼晒几个钟都不死，是吧？这个应该有几个钟了，看没有？都成了这个样子，全部成了枯柴了。我们今天拿一条是吧？看一下，还有这个他们说遇水就能动起来，看一下是不是真的？来，我试一下，拿点这个神奇的洞洞啊，来看一下，来看有没有反应？喂。
What you're seeing here might look like dried, lifeless fish, but they're not dead. In fact, the person who found them even breaks off a piece of the fin on one of them, and there's no reaction. It seems completely dried out and motionless. But watch this. As soon as the person pours water into the fish's mouth, it starts to move. It's like it comes back to life. This might seem like magic, but it's actually a fascinating survival technique. These fish are a type of catfish, and they have an extraordinary ability to survive in extreme conditions. During dry seasons, when water sources are dry, they can enter a state of estivation, which is similar to hibernation, but in response to hot and dry conditions instead of cold. They slow down their metabolism significantly, and they can remain in this state for months until water returns. When water finally returns to their environment, it rehydrates them and triggers their own return to normal activity. This ability to essentially come back to life when water is available is a remarkable adaptation that ensures their survival during harsh conditions. Have you ever met a man who could talk to the stars? No? Well, then this clip is yours to watch.
Beautiful ones. That's absolutely beautiful. My gracious, dear ones. Love y'all. Wow.
In the clip, we see some strange-looking lights in the atmosphere. I'm not sure if it's purple, mauve, or violet, so I'm not going to mention a color. I know you guys won't forgive me in the comment section for that. While the strange lights are the star of the show, what's even more puzzling is the voice in the clip. The man appears to be talking to the lights. He showers affectionate words on it and call me crazy, but it seems like whatever it is attached or responding to his words. Some of those who saw the original post believe that the lights may be UAPs or a UFO. They mention that the guy's appellations could be a sign that he's some sort of special connection to these lights, crafts, or beings within it. Another commenter made an interesting point. As controversial and interesting as that might sound, we've no way of confirming it. So what do you guys think? Is a man capable of talking to the stars? A man who is friends with a UFO? Or is a man manipulating the masses to think he's capable of all that? Share your thoughts in the comments section.
Hey, sweet friends. That is truly fantastic. Love you too. Absolutely love you, friends. Thank you for always being there for me. Choked myself up. Wow, look at you. Hey! Beautiful.
This man's unique perspective is truly fascinating.
When you take all the temples that are around the pyramid and the other two pyramids that are next to it, and you look at it from the sky looking down, and you connect them, you get a inner planet system of our solar system.
When you take a bird's eye view of the Pyramid of Giza and the surrounding temples, you notice something remarkable. The arrangement mirrors the interplanetary solar system. When compared with a NASA map, the alignment fits incredibly well. But here's the intriguing question. NASA wasn't around in those ancient times, so how did they figure this out? Think about it. The precision and accuracy needed to map such a complex structure to the solar system are astounding. This suggests that the ancient builders must have had access to some advanced form of technology or knowledge that allowed them to achieve this. It's a mind-boggling thought. How did they gain such an understanding of astronomy? Did they possess sophisticated tools or methods lost to history? Or was there an exchange of knowledge from otherworldly sources? Share your thoughts and perspectives. Let's decode this together. One night in the Balkans, a resident was woken up by strange sounds in the middle of the night. Curious and a bit unsettled, he decided to investigate.
Ništa se ne vidi.
He grabbed a flashlight and made his way toward the mountain. As he got closer, an eerie feeling of immense fear began to wash over him. That's when he saw them. Two figures, each about 12 feet tall, stood on either side of a stone pillar. The figures were dark, with the shapes of humans draped in robes and wings spread behind them. They looked like angels, but their presence was haunting and otherworldly. The man managed to capture some footage, and when he shared it online, the internet went wild. Many believed these figures were angels. Their towering forms and wings fitted the description perfectly. However, others had a more sinister interpretation, suggesting they might be fallen angels or some other dark entities. I know we show paranormal stuff on CCTVs all the time, but never have we shown you something like this. Take a look. First, we're introduced to a lady who's just sitting in a hall minding her business. She starts looking around as if there was something or someone with her. After a few seconds, a chair moves, startling and making her dive into the opposite direction. You would think this is the end, but no, we wait a few more seconds and the whole furniture in the place moves to the left direction, taking the woman with them. Now, obviously, there's an unseen force moving things. The question now is, what is that unseen force, and what has the woman got to do with it? I can't use the hoax line for this video because of this particular comment. The individual confirms it happened in Malaysia. I'm not going to Julius for an explanation on this one. I'm coming to you guys. What do you think is happening here? In 2000, scientist Clifford Carnicom embarked on an investigation collecting environmental samples from a mountain in New Mexico. What he discovered was both perplexing and unsettling. Unidentifiable fibers that do not exist in nature. Under the microscope, these fibers resembled tubular formations found in human blood, tissues, and skin. Upon further testing, these fibers were identified as dried red blood cells. This discovery raises significant questions. How are dried red blood cells present in the air, and what could be the origin of these fibers that seem to survive in the environment? The implications are profound. If these fibers are indeed present in both the environment and human bodies, understanding their nature and origin could be crucial for public health and safety. Are they a new form of environmental contaminant, or do they suggest something more extraordinary? I just don't get why people put themselves through the torture of going into abandoned houses. They are likely hotspots for paranormal activities. Take a look at this footage, for instance. A woman goes into an abandoned building. She moves from room to room until she gets to one of the toilets, and this happens. In the toilet is black hair that looks like there's a head under the seat. The toilet lid suddenly slams open and closes as soon as the woman gets closer. It's as if the entity is warning her from getting any nearer. This makes her slowly back away from the place. Who knows what entities or spirits linger in these forgotten structures? Would you dare to explore an abandoned house, knowing what might be waiting for you inside? Ever heard of the Wise Man's Woods in England? No? Legend has it that in the past, druids used to perform rituals and sacrifices there, and because of this, the woods are known to harbor a lot of spirits. Recently, a young man shared this chilling video on his social media that has everyone talking.
Walking for like an hour now, it is pissing it down. These two are doing my head in. It's getting dark. I have no idea where the dog is. What?
He had taken his little siblings out for a walk in these very woods. They had been out for so long that it was starting to get dark, and he was getting increasingly frustrated trying to wrangle his siblings back toward home. In a moment of exasperation, he decided to record a video of himself and his siblings to capture their antics. As he was filming, his camera inadvertently caught something terrifying. Behind him, among the trees, there was a dark figure. It moved very quickly and seemed to vanish almost instantly. What makes this even more unsettling is that they were in the infamous Wise Man's Woods. Given the history of this place, it's not surprising that many in the paranormal community believe the figure in the video could be one of the many entities rumored to haunt the woods. Is that the case, though? It's hard to confirm it, but let us know your thoughts in the comments section.
It's getting dark. I have no idea where the dog is.
Here we have another intriguing piece of evidence, a mummified alien creature supposedly retrieved from the Andean mountains in Peru after a UFO landing back in 1974. This video, taken in 2007, shows the same characteristics we've come to associate with alleged alien beings: a large head and small body. The story goes that locals witnessed a UFO landing, a well-known tale among residents. However, the military swiftly intervened, sweeping the incident under the rug and dismissing it as a fabrication to the rest of the world. But it seems not everything was erased. In 2007, researchers discovered that some individuals had arrived at the scene before the military and managed to retrieve the body of a dead alien from the craft. They kept it hidden all these years until the footage surfaced. What do you think about this? Is it possible that the military covered up a genuine UFO encounter? Could this mummified creature be proof of extraterrestrial life, or is it just another elaborate hoax? Back in 1901, some divers were exploring a shipwreck off the coast of Greece. As they sifted through the wreckage, they stumbled upon something truly extraordinary, a strange, wheel-like object. Intrigued, they brought it to the surface and scientists began to examine it. What they discovered left them absolutely stunned. This peculiar artifact turned out to be an ancient computer, now known as the Antikythera mechanism. This 2,000-year-old device was a complex system of gears and wheels used to calculate the cycles of the cosmos. It's often considered the world's first analog computer, capable of predicting astronomical positions and eclipses with remarkable precision. The existence of the Antikythera mechanism raises some fascinating questions about the technological capabilities of ancient civilizations. We often hear about conspiracies suggesting that humanity once reached a peak of technological advancement before experiencing a catastrophic event, a great reset that thrust us back into the Stone Age. Could this ancient computer be proof that such advanced knowledge existed long before we ever imagined?
Ya, teman-teman. Tuh. Iya. Oke, saya dapat. Harumnya.
This man came across a strange-looking creature in a cave. It's said that the creature is a cave gremlin. It was a miniature being with dark, beady eyes and a mouth with teeth sticking out. Many would have run at the sight of this creature, but the man took the creature home, cooked it, and ate it. Yes, this man ate a gremlin. That is one of the most bizarre things I've ever come across on the internet. Gremlins are often considered mythical creatures with various stories and legends attributing them with magical or mischievous qualities. Eating a potential mystical or unknown creature not only disregards cultural and mythical significances, but also poses serious health risks. Who knows what kind of diseases or toxins an unknown creature might carry? If this is indeed real, do you think people should show more respect for unknown and mythical creatures, or should turning them into delicacies be the acceptable norm? Share your thoughts.
Harumnya.
These men went out fishing and returned to the port with something incredible. It's a scaly reptilian-looking creature tangled in their net. The creature is enormous, with rough armored skin and long, powerful tail. It resembles a giant crocodile, but since we never get a full view of its body, we can't say for certainty what it is. Those who have seen it have described it as mysterious, as it doesn't look like anything that they have ever seen. Some believe it could be a prehistoric-looking deep-sea creature, possibly a rare species of giant fish or reptile. Others think it might be an unknown marine animal that has rarely been seen before. Interesting, huh? And with that, we end today's episode. Thank you for staying with us. Before you go, are there clips and videos you think we should have featured by now that we haven't? Well, the good news is you can share them with us and we'll post them crediting you. Please send any such footage, including ones you recorded yourself, to us via classifiedcaptures@gmail.com. We'll do our thing and include it in our next episode. We can't wait to receive what you have. Send this video to someone you love, and I'll see you in the next one.